Welcome to my channel. My name is Crafty Kathy and I'm so happy that you're here today. I have some beautiful home decor that's thrifted and I upcycled it for resale in my booth. I have a little small booth here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I love to do DIYs, thrift flips, antiques, oddities, any kind of store like that I'm attracted to. And if you like that kind of content, I would love for you to stick around and become a part of our family because we would love to have you. We've always got plenty of room around here. And I would give you a big old Tennessee bear hug, but I can't do it through the camera, so we'll just do a virtual hug. I don't have a bit of sense, so let's just jump into this video. I hope you guys like it. Here we go with number one. My first DIY is going to be this beautiful wall clock that I thrifted. I think it's so pretty. And when I first started on it, I wanted to really accentuate this beautiful detail that's around it. I think that is so lovely. I think I only paid like $1.99 for this thing. So I just grabbed it and I took all the pieces apart. A lot of times, if I find a beautiful clock that's round, I don't necessarily even use it for a clock. I thought that this one would make a beautiful wall decor, but I always keep all those pieces just in case I need it when I do happen to be putting a clock together. And honey, I'm telling you, this thing was a mess to try to get the front off of it. I don't know what was going on. It was some kind of hard plastic, and whenever I put the heat to it, it like started curling up on me. And I was going to save it until it did that. And I was like, yeah, you got to go, baby girl. So I just pulled it off. I used that heat to loosen up that glue on the back of it and popped her right off there. I have this gorgeous picture of these pretty little birds, and it's on rice paper. All I do is use rice paper and print the picture off on my regular printer, and I use the front of that little clock to know exactly how big I needed to cut this. And if I'm going to decoupage, which is what I'm going to do with this rice paper, I always rip my edges because you don't want any straight edges when you're decoupaging anything because it just looks more natural this way and it makes it so pretty. Then I took my little block of wax. You can use just a cheap old Dollar Tree candle. It does not matter. And you go around because this is a much easier way, I think, to distress. Whenever you put this wax on anything, whatever it hits, it's not going to hold the paint. So at the end, you just kind of scrape it off and you naturally have a beautiful way of distressing something. I pulled out my Debbie's DIY paint, and this green color is called Apothecary. It is one of my favorite colors. It is beautiful and breathtaking, and this paint is amazing. I gave it 2 full coats of the color Apothecary. I took the Waverly color called Ivory, and we're just going to hit the middle of this clock because a very little portion of my picture is going to show, and I want it to be the exact same color of the background of that little birdie picture that I'm going to decoupage on there. Now, if you like to decoupage and you haven't used rice paper, it's a game changer. Rice paper is so much easier to use than napkins because it's a little bit thicker and hardier, and it doesn't wrinkle and make all that mess that sometimes you get with napkins. Now, all I did was put down a little bit of Mod Podge and slap that picture right down. I always start from the center and kind of go out just to make sure I don't have any, bubbles or crinkles in my paper. Then I just took a razor knife and kind of cut around the edges to make sure that I had a good proper edge and that there wasn't anything sticking up or looking crazy. And I got some little fairy lights that I get off of Amazon. You get about, 15 packs in there, and there's 20 little lights on each string. And they're very inexpensive. They're in my Amazon store in case you want any of these. I think they're beautiful, and I love to use them in a lot of my different DIYs. Now, there was a little hole that's right there in the top that was perfect to slide that wire through there. And I just glued the little battery pack to the back of it, pulled it through, and I wound it around about 2 times so that it would go around my picture very nicely. And the good thing about these little fairy lights, if you need to put a little dot of glue to hold them, it's not going to fry that wire and mess up your whole lights. So I just put a couple of little dabs of glue, and that was plenty enough to hold it because it's a wire, so it doesn't need much to hold it. And after I put the little lights in, I still felt like it was needing something. So I grabbed some of this little Spanish moss. It just came from the Dollar Tree. And I put a little bit at the bottom to kind of make it look like a little birdie nest. And that kind of just gave it that little sweet touch that I thought that it was needing. If there's any that's sticking out and looks crazy, I just kind of trim them off with the little scissors there. Then I simply put a little dab of glue on the back and put my battery pack right there. That way you can flip it on and off with no problem. And I put my mirror back in, and let me tell y'all what I did. I started putting everything back together, and I had to use my screwdriver to put my little screws back in to hold the mirror. Well, Kathy cracked the mirror, and I was like, way to go, big girl. But I wasn't about to stop with this DIY because I thought it was beautiful. And you know what? A lot of people don't even like mirrors or, like glass or anything in their stuff. So I thought, hey, leave it out. It's still going to look good. And I just used a little wet baby wipe to go around and kind of distress. Now, it made that darker color underneath, which if you remember, it was black and kind of a coppery color. It made it pop right out and go, look at me. Here I am. I'm beautiful. Then I had to hit it with my Debbie's DIY white wax. If there's one product that I cannot live without, it's this product. And it seals in that paint, makes it kind of calm down the color a little bit, if you will. It kind of mutes it, and it gives it this beautiful cottage chic kind of vibe. It's just beautiful. And then I just wiped off the excess with a rag. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know me, I can't stop once I get going on a DIY. So I thought, hey, what if I add one of these little solar wood flowers? I liked that ivory color because I felt that it was just muted enough to make everything perfect. And then I still wanted to add something. So I took some little pearls and I just put 3 on the 4 different corners. And don't you know, I didn't even record that part. I thought I did. But here's what it looked like when the pearls was on there. I hope you guys like this one. I absolutely am mad about it. When I'm showing you guys my DIYs and staging them, I always like to put a little old vintage picture. That's me when I graduated nursing school 20 years ago, and man, how time flies. And I'm so into anything vintage, so I love to stick little vintagey whatnots in my pictures whenever I'm taking it for you guys. I hope y'all enjoy this one. I don't know which way I like it better. It's beautiful with the lights on or with the lights off. But let's just jump right on in to DIY number 2. This one is an old pickle jar that I had upcycled a while back ago. I didn't really like it. So we're going to use some Dixie Belle Slick Stick. Now, this is the first time I've ever started using it. It is specifically for glass and things that are hard to paint, like glass, metal, that kind of thing. And it pretty much does what it says. It's a slick stick. Anything that's slick, it helps that paint stick. You know what I'm saying? And I put just 1 coat on this and on the top. And guys, the paint went on like a dream. So this slick stick is another one of my favorite products. Then I put a little bit of baking soda and I put a little bit of paint. And the paint that I'm using is home decor color called Oatmeal. I kind of do half and half. So if I do 1 teaspoon of the baking soda, I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of the paint. Now, it's just to thicken that paint up a little bit. It kind of makes the jar or whatever you're putting it on look a little like concretey, you know. And here's another little tip, guys, if y'all didn't know. Take Vaseline, just a little bit of Vaseline, and go around the tops of your paint jars whenever you're finished with them, because you ever have where paint gets all like cracky and flaky? You won't do it with that Vaseline. I'm just telling you, it's a good little move, and somebody taught it to me, and so I love to teach it to you guys and help y'all out. So I'm just going to stir this up real good. And when I get it good and stirred up, I want the consistency of like a thick pancake batter. It's not going to run off of my brush whenever I hold it up. Now, my first coat that I put on is just to get the paint on. It's nothing special. Basically, you just slap that first coat on there. But on my second coat, after that first coat is totally dried, I do another coat, and I use this sponge dabber, I guess is what you call it. It's just a sponge, but I'm just pretty much dabbing that on there. And that kind of is what gives it that concretey look. You know, that look that we like on all of our jars. Or some of us do. I mean, it's just your personal preference, but I think it's really pretty. Plus, when the paint's a little bit thicker like that, you can't see any kind of lines or imperfections. So I let that second coat dry, and look at this beautiful piece of rice paper that my friend Teresa sent me. Now, Teresa sells napkins and rice paper and that kind of stuff, and I'm going to leave her link in the description down below because she has good prices and some beautiful stuff. Now, remember I told you that I like to rip the edges to make it look natural? The easiest way to do that is to wet them. So I wet the end of a little paintbrush, and then I use my fingers and very softly and carefully rip around the image that I'm needing for my decoupage. Now I'm going to take this pretty girl and I am going to put her on this jug. A jug. Man, you can tell I'm from Tennessee. It's a jar. So I put down a little bit of Mod Podge, and like I said, the rice paper, it works like a dream. It's so easy. I just do a little bit up top and then stuck her down, and then I put a little bit at the bottom. And you always want to make sure to get those edges sealed really well with that Mod Podge. That way it won't never come up. And I still do use Saran Wrap if I get wrinkles, but you very seldom get many wrinkles when you use the rice paper. Now, up at the top of this jar, since it was curved the way it was, I cut 3 just straight cuts in it, and it makes it a little bit easier to lay it down. And I did use my Saran Wrap up there too, because some areas are a little bit more tricky, you know, but you don't want no wrinkles. And then over here at the side, I just stuck another little rose kind of off to the side so it would look like the picture's going all the way around the jug. The jug. And on the front, I had 2 small little butterflies that was on this picture, and I just stuck those in front of her. Now, I gave the lid 2 coats of Ballet Slipper is the color. It's that pretty muted pink color by Waverly. And I did put that slick stick on that top of that jar too, just because, you know, it's a slick surface and it don't usually hold paint so well. Then I had to grab my Debbie's DIY white wax, y'all. I've had this jar forever. And guys, I do so many DIYs, and I'm not even halfway through this jar. I'm not kidding you. It is a little bit more expensive. I want to say it's about 15 bucks for the jar, but it lasts you forever. So you just rub it on and you rub it back off to whatever preference, how much you want on there. And it just mutes down that color a little bit and gives it a little vintagey vibe. I wrapped some jute twine around the top of it, and I had to get all the little fuzzies off, so I used a lighter to do that, and it just burns them off perfectly. And then the last thing I done was I took some of this ribbon, I guess you would call it ribbon. I got it at the Dollar Tree, and it's almost like, I really don't even know what you would call this stuff, but I mean, you can see it. I really don't even know what you would call it. But I just kind of cut it up, because I felt like the jar needed something else. And so I just ended up like fooling with it for a little while. And I finally settled on kind of tying it in a very loose, tacky kind of, you know, like a shabby chic type bow. I found this little flower petal with the pearl in the middle somewhere. I don't know where it came from. And so I like to add a little 3D effect to my stuff. So I stuck it kind of on the side where it looks like it's in her hair with the rest of the flowers. And then I did use a very light sandpaper to go over it and kind of scratch it up and give it that vintagey look. I hope you like it. If you're new here, or if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what in the world are you waiting for? I would love to have you as part of my family. All you got to do is hit that little red subscribe button and you're in. It's totally free, and if you hit that little bell beside it, YouTube's going to let you know when I put out a video. And if you enjoy the content, give me a big thumbs up, because it really helps support my channel. Now let's get into the next one. This is a little planter that I got, little watering can that I got from my thrift store for $1. Now it's that metal that's kind of hard to paint, so I gave it that slick stick also. And then I just painted it with the exact same mixture of the baking soda and the oatmeal colored paint that I had mixed up before. I had it sitting around, so I figured I might as well. And I only gave it 2 coats of this, and I did the exact same thing. I daubed it on. Now on this one, since it was a little bit harder to paint, I didn't just swipe on that first coat of paint like I did with the jar. I started right away with that daubing motion, and I did that 2 times. And now I'm going to use some IOD transfers. Now these are called Redoubt 2. And my friend Lori over at Milton's Daughter sent me this, and I thank you so much, Lori. This is beautiful. And guys, the thing about the IOD transfers is you don't have to use that whole page. You can use little bits and pieces of it or just the words, and it makes any project beautiful. Now, I'm going to leave Lori's link down in the description box below. Her store is called Milton's Daughter. That's where I get anything IOD from. And she's awesome. She's quick to get it to you, and you will not be disappointed. And let me tell you what else. She gives my subscribers 10% off your IOD products. So y'all make sure that you go see Miss Lori down at Milton's Daughter and let her know that Crafty Kathy sent you her way. So I finally found the one that I wanted. All I needed was a little piece. And these are so easy to use. All you do is just lay it on whatever surface you're going to put it on, and then they send you a little tool, and you just have to scratch it with that little tool, and it comes right off, almost like a sticker, except for it's so beautiful, guys. Like I'm telling you, it will make any DIY just pop. And a lot of times, to be honest, I do use that tool, but I kind of prefer my fingernail a lot of times. It's just easier to get it off. And then when you get the image off, you burnish it. And burnish just means where you take that little clear film that it comes on and rub it on the top of it to get it to make sure it's sticking real good. Now, I picked this word, and it's from a different part of the book. Like I said, you can use bits and pieces, and I just put this down on the bottom. It's a French word, so don't ask me what it is, because us Tennessee guys, we don't speak French. Unless you're talking about French fries now. That's another story. But anyways, I put another little rose on the back, and it's from a totally different part of the book. And from another book called Brocante, I had this beautiful little butterfly, and I thought it went perfect with this watering can, so I put it on kind of on the side there. I added another little rose to the side, and then going up the spout, I put like another little phrase that went right along with the other French words that I put on there. Then I used my Waverly ink, which is their black colored chalk paint, and I went all the way around the rims of this little watering can to kind of give it like an enamel look. But I used my finger. It's my favorite form of distressing. You know, we always joke about that. Instead of a paintbrush, a lot of times I use my finger because it just distresses everything perfectly. So I went around all the edges with my finger, and I think that turned out so pretty. And that's all I did to this one because it didn't need anything else. And I hope you like this one. I think it's just cute as can be.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance?
And I found out that the IOD sisters just released their new summer stuff. And I am crazy about everything that they have. This is one of the new transfers that they have, and you will never be disappointed with anything that you buy from them because the quality is outstanding, and I love this stamp. I've got to have it. So make sure that y'all go and see Lori over at Milton's Daughter for all your IOD products because she has them and you get that 10% discount. Now I've got one more quick little DIY and it's the last of the day. I got this little basket from the thrift store and I decided to paint it. So I taped off the bottom third part of it, and the upper part I painted it with the color called Ivory Bisque, which is just an ivory color. And then the bottom it was called Coastal Sage. And y'all know I've got that little Etsy store called Kathy's Crafty Boutique where I have all that sublimation prints that are in there. And I decided to do a little sublimation. It's been a while since we've been doing our sublimation and y'all know how I love it. So I printed these two beautiful roses out on this sublimated paper, and all I'm going to do is just cut it out here. I'm actually going to put it on this runner that came from the Dollar Tree because it's 100% polyester, and to do sublimation you get a better result if you use at least 70% polyester. So all I have to do is lay my print down and put my wax paper down over top of it, and then my Cricut hot press for 60 seconds on 385. Now don't forget, come visit my shop if you guys need anything that's sublimated. I have beautiful prints, and like I said, it's been a while since we've talked about the sublimation, but I absolutely love the way it always turns out. And look at this, voila! So I just cut my little print out and I'm going to put it right in the middle of my basket. All I do is use a little small dab of hot glue on the corners to hold it down. And I think this turned out beautiful, guys. After I got it glued down, I did use a little bit of the Debbie's DIY white wax, mostly on that darker part on the bottom, that Coastal Sage. It's kind of an apothecary color. It almost came out looking like that apothecary. That's absolutely all I had to do to this, and I love the way that it turned out. This will sell very fast because the baskets are always a fast seller, and you can always find a ton of them at the thrift store.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you.
If y'all stuck through this whole video, I just want to say thank you, and I love each and every one of y'all, and I am so thankful for all the support and love that y'all show me. A lot of times when my own family's not like family, y'all are that to me, and I am so thankful that I do have a family with y'all that I can come to and share my life with, and I just love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and go check out my Etsy store, and go check out Miss Lori over at Milton's Daughter if you need any IOD products, because she will give you that 10% off. And You got to stick around because you know there's either going to be bloopers or some of my critters. Retta, say hi. Say hello. She's got her hand up there waving.
Isn't she the most gorgeous thing that you've ever seen? Oh, she's beautiful.
Look at how she's sitting. That's so funny.
That's my girl. That's my Retta. That's my girl.
Here's our little garden. We have Mexican calabacita, which is like a green squash, like a zucchini. We have Tabasco peppers, and we have about 20 tomato plants. Early girls and better boys. And we have 2 rows of corn. But it's small. It's all we need. It feeds us and some of our family. Perfectly redneck way to water a garden. And a perfectly redneck man with a beat up hat that looks like it come out of a cow's butt. Nice. You mean I gotta walk down there and move the hose? We can't be doing none of that. I gotta have one of them ones that just does it for me.
Sabby, you want to sing intro? You want to sing the intro song? You want to do intro? Shay, you being lazy? Sabby.
You. Mama's babies are getting some bug bonanza tonight and some buttermilk.
Yes, for their digestion. Yes, that's it. Because Mama gonna make sure those girls are fine and their little digestive tracts are perfect.
Oh, what have we got in the mealworm bag, girls? Oh, there's little shrimp. Yummy, Loretta. Oh my gosh, I'm going to just hurl. Here, I'm going to put it in there because you've got to drink your buttermilk, girls. Get your buttermilk. Oh, yeah, Retta, yeah, that's good. Here. Now you know I got to love you to no end to sit here and smell buttermilk and baby shrimp. Look, Loretta got her a shrimp. They got them some shrimp and bug bonanza, which is mealworms, shrimp, and I think there's crickets in there. I don't know what all that is. It's just